and I'm the financial controller for Raw Resources Group. And Raw Resources Group is a grouping of companies. We have Raw Resources, which does our engineering and construction work. Raw Electric, it's our electrical engineering division. Raw Site Services, it handles all of our maintenance work. Raw Recovery, Raw Utility and Energy Services. We just purchased Raw Fabrication. So there are several Raw companies, and each of the Raw companies are actually separate companies, which has made it a little bit challenging with the accounting and what we needed in a timekeeping system. So Raw Resources actually started as Appalachian Coal. The owner's Andy Alvis, probably 12 years ago. And then App Coal closed and they started Raw Resources. He then started Raw Electric with a partner. After that, he started, I think next came Raw Construction, which was our field company, and Raw Electric Construction. After that, I started. I've been here since 2019. And that year he started Raw Resources Group, which is the group of companies. That's where that comes from. Raw Site Services started that year. Our office in Boise, Idaho started that year in 2019. In 2020, Raw Services started. In 2020, Raw Utility and Energy Services started. Last year, Raw Field Services and Raw United Field Services and Raw Recovery started. So as you can tell, it's grew a lot. Just in the short time that I've been here, Raw Resources Group has grown quite a bit. And we have probably, I'd say 275 employees right now. We do have so many companies and so many employees, but we're scattered throughout the U.S. So our headquarters are here in Princeton, West Virginia. We also have an office in Sutton, West Virginia. We have an office location in Salisbury, North Carolina. And then I mentioned Boise, Idaho. Well, we also have construction projects we're working on in, let's say, Texas, Arizona. We've been in Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, California. We've been all over. We're so spread out that we often don't meet our employees. So therefore, we were getting paper timesheets from our field supervisors. Well, there was sometimes discrepancies with those paper timesheets. We have a payroll specialist who was maintaining the field payroll, and she was keying all that data in every week. They were paid weekly for over 100 employees. And we job cost everything. So it was just very time consuming. She started coming in at 6 in the morning every morning to try to get it done. So we just wanted to get away from that and then put some controls in place. And the facial recognition and the geofencing was something huge we wanted, since we don't get to meet our employees. So we've only been with WorkMax since October. So relatively short time, October of 2021. Our goal was that in January, I would have everyone up and running. It actually took us to probably the 1st of February, but we did. We had everyone using it. And I was expecting challenges from the field, from the employees not wanting to use it. But it's been relatively easy. I was surprised, I guess, a few employees, of course, weren't happy about it, but the majority was happy and wanted to go to that new electronic system and just completely get away from those redundant paper timesheets. But it's been such a simple process for us. Oh yeah, the whole system, I was expecting it to be a little bit more difficult. So no, what has been probably the most surprising is how easy it was to use, but also how easy it was to use for our field employees to catch on and use it. I was expecting them, sometimes you think they may not be the most tech savvy if they're working out in the field. They caught on better than anyone else. They were used to that. They were used to using, other electronic timekeeping systems, and just the ease of everything I was very surprised about. The Spanish feature with the app has been very nice. We do have several employees who speak Spanish who cannot speak English very well, so that has been much easier for them. Oh, yes. So, of course, we had employees at first who tried, I guess, to test it out to see what they could get by with. We had some employees clocking in and out from their house, from their hotel, from a restaurant, trying to clock in and out for each other. There was probably a handful who tried. And that geofencing and that facial recognition allowed us to catch that. And now that our employees realize, hey, they really are watching this, we don't see that now. That's been probably one of our favorite parts about the system, other than the job costing, is that we know we're not going to have those security issues now. It's a good internal control to have. So as a controller, I love that. I think so. I do. We've implemented the forms component with some of them. Um, so some of the employees actually has a form each day to fill out as well for that time and material billing that I mentioned. Um, they've had to become a little bit more tech savvy, of course, to use those. It's also allowed us to have the supervisors fill out these forms to let us know who all's on site that day. So for a safety standpoint, that's huge. It's allowed us to know if an employee is traveling to another site, if they wanted to take vacation that day, why they weren't on that job site, if they quit, if they were a no-show. And so that's been another nice feature, but we've had to expect a little bit more from our employee for those forms, but they've handled it so well. So we had actually tried another software before purchasing WorkMax. We use Computeries for our accounting software, and Computeries can be a little bit complex with how the jobs are set up, the phase, the categories, and everything. And the software that we were going to be using did not actually import back to Computeries. It was just this huge nightmare. It wasn't easy for the employees to use. We had a trial basis of employees on it. They were not happy at all. Um, so I reached out to our salesperson with Computeries, and I wish this is a step that we had taken first. And he let us know that there was actually only one software company he would recommend, and that would actually import and export back to Computeries. And that, of course, was WorkMax. So that same day, Stephen Cooper actually reached out to me and told us a little bit about it, and we had a meeting. And I would say probably within 2.5 weeks, we had purchased WorkMax at the end of October, and it was a fantastic decision. It's cut our payroll specialist time in half. With the King, the timesheets, definitely. Like I said, our payroll specialist, Terry, she doesn't have to key all of that data anymore. Um, David, our implementation manager, he actually helped us set up per diem as well because our employees get paid per diem. And now she doesn't have to key that per diem either. They were able to figure out a tool between us that would other companies may not need. Our company did. So WorkMax didn't have something, right there. David had to think about it. Like, how can we make this easier? And he did. And now Terry doesn't have to key that information in. For our professional companies that I handle, it's been the same way. So it's made it a lot easier for our professional companies. We had them using Fieldies, which was by Computeries, and we had just outgrew that. So it's been very easy for them, and we do have all employees using it. So both our hourly and salaried employees, for job costing purposes, because we need that accurate data reflected in Computeries, they all are on that system now. We just hired a project controller, and I'm hoping that she can help us see, okay, we're saving this much on the job versus that much, and I think we'll be able to get some good information, good data from her. Oh, it's been fantastic. So anytime I have a question, at first I of course was reaching out to David. He always answered my questions promptly. Now we may go to some of the support staff. Usually it's within a couple hours. We have assistance if we're having an issue. So the support that we've had has just been amazing. Um, we acquired a new company around the 1st of April, and I emailed David and told him I needed his help in getting it set up. There was going to be around 30 or so employees in this company, and he helped me get it set up. And it took us probably an hour with him, and then probably half a day on our side, and we had each of those employees in the system, trained how to use it. So it's just the ease of it has been so nice. I think we would have hit our goal if we had never went with that other system first. Because the other system we went with, that we had a few select employees trying out, they were so upset about that system that it gave me, I had a little bit of hiccups at first trying to roll this one out. So I wish I had known about WorkMax more, that we had done a little bit more research about the product beforehand before we decided to make that initial purchase. I think that had we, like I said, had we went with WorkMax initially, I wouldn't have had any issues. So it was taking our payroll specialist around 3 days, 4 days to enter all of those time entries. Now she can look at those entries and have them processed within a day. So she used to import time every Wednesday, and now she's importing it before she leaves on Monday evenings into Computeries. So that's, I mean, just that alone, the savings in her time has been huge. The savings in the field, the supervisors, I have it set up so that each of the supervisors has to review the time for their employees. After they do that, they have to sign off on it. Terry or myself look, we see that it's been signed off on, and we're ready to process it. So I would say, I would tell a friend of mine, definitely go for it, because it's going to save you money and just the convenience of it. And I also like knowing that I can log into that system and say, okay, did Joe Smith come to work today? Where did he clock in from? I like knowing that who is actually on that job site versus those paper timesheets. We didn't have that. We may not know until a week from now if they were actually there or not.